This technology is worth over $10 billion a year, and most people have no idea it even exists. By the end of this video, you'll understand why governments and companies are in an arms race to control what happens 500 kilometers above your head. I've spent the last few months diving deep into the satellite imaging industry, talking to engineers, analyzing market data, and honestly, what I discovered blew my mind. This isn't science fiction anymore. It's happening right now, reshaping entire industries while flying under the radar of public awareness. Today, I'm going to show you 3 things that will fundamentally change how you see the world. First, the shocking resolution and capabilities satellites achieve today far beyond what most people imagine. Second, the multi-billion-dollar industries being transformed right now by this technology, from agriculture to finance. And third, why this creates tangible opportunities you can actually act on. Whether you're a student, professional, entrepreneur, or investor, this is about understanding a revolution that's already here. So let's start with what these satellites can actually see. Remember when Google Earth first launched? Back in 2005, being able to see your house from space felt like magic. But look at those early images closely. They're blurry, pixelated. You could barely make out cars, let alone read street signs. The resolution was measured in meters, meaning each pixel represented several meters of actual ground. For most commercial applications, this was interesting but not particularly useful. Fast forward to today, and we're not talking about meters anymore. We're talking about centimeters. The difference isn't incremental, it's transformational. To understand just how far we've come, let me show you what modern satellites can actually do. What can satellites actually see today? The answer is almost everything. Modern commercial satellites achieve resolutions between 15 and 30 centimeters. That's roughly the size of a soccer ball. From space, let that sink in for a moment. We're not talking about military spy satellites with classified capabilities. These are commercial systems that anyone with enough money can access. But resolution is just one piece of the puzzle. Frequency matters just as much. Companies like Planet Labs have deployed constellations of over 200 satellites that image the entire Earth every single day. Not once a week, not once a month, every day. They can revisit the same location multiple times within 24 hours, creating an essentially continuous record of changes happening on the ground. And here's where it gets really interesting. These satellites don't just take pictures in visible light. They capture data across multiple spectrums that human eyes can't even see. Infrared sensors detect heat signatures, revealing energy inefficiencies in buildings or stressed vegetation in crops weeks before visible symptoms appear. Synthetic aperture radar penetrates clouds and darkness, operating 24/7 regardless of weather conditions. Hyperspectral imaging breaks light into hundreds of narrow bands, identifying specific materials and chemical compositions from orbit. Let me give you a concrete example of what this means in practice. In 2023, satellite data detected a massive methane leak from a natural gas facility in Turkmenistan. The leak was invisible to workers on the ground, completely undetectable by traditional monitoring methods. But hyperspectral sensors spotted it immediately from space, revealing emissions equivalent to 35 million tons of CO2. That single detection prevented environmental damage that would have cost hundreds of millions to remediate. Or consider this. Insurance companies now use satellite imagery to assess property damage after hurricanes, counting damaged roofs across entire cities in hours instead of weeks. Retailers monitor competitor parking lots to estimate foot traffic. Agricultural firms analyze crop health across thousands of farms simultaneously, optimizing irrigation and predicting yields with unprecedented accuracy. This isn't the future. This is today, and it's already changing everything. But here's the example that really made my jaw drop. In 2022, A hedge fund used satellite data to predict Walmart's quarterly earnings with 94% accuracy 3 weeks before the official report was released. How? By counting cars in parking lots across America every single day. They tracked thousands of Walmart locations, analyzing traffic patterns, peak shopping hours, and seasonal trends. The satellites captured this data automatically. AI algorithms processed it. And analysts had reliable revenue predictions before Wall Street had a clue. That's not insider trading. That's just really smart use of publicly available orbital imagery. And it's perfectly legal. But here's where it gets really interesting. If satellites can predict corporate earnings and detect invisible gas leaks, someone's making serious money from this technology. And they are. We're talking about an industry that will nearly double in size within the next 6 years. The key players? Companies like Planet Labs, Maxar Technologies, Airbus Defence and Space, and Satellogic are leading the charge. Planet Labs alone operates the largest fleet of Earth imaging satellites ever deployed. Maxar provides imagery so detailed that government agencies pay premium prices for exclusive access. These aren't garage startups anymore, they're publicly traded companies with billion-dollar valuations and contracts, spanning governments, corporations, and research institutions worldwide. But who's actually paying for all this data? And more importantly, why? 5 industries are being fundamentally transformed by satellite data right now. Let me walk you through each one. First, agriculture. This is a $3.5 billion market within the satellite imaging industry. Farmers use satellite data to monitor crop health across thousands of acres simultaneously, identifying stressed areas that need attention before problems become visible to the naked eye. Precision irrigation systems guided by satellite. Imagery can reduce water consumption by 30% while actually increasing yields. For a large farm operation, that translates to hundreds of thousands of dollars saved annually. Companies like John Deere have integrated satellite data directly into their farming equipment, making this technology accessible to operations of all sizes. Second, energy and commodities. This is where things get fascinating. Commodity traders use satellites to track oil tankers moving across oceans, counting ships at ports, and even detecting flaring at oil fields to estimate production levels. They're essentially creating their own proprietary economic indicators before official data gets released. Hedge funds pay premium subscriptions for this intelligence because being ahead of the market by even days can generate millions in returns. One energy analytics firm reportedly made accurate predictions about OPEC production cuts by analyzing satellite images of storage facilities and pipeline activity across the Middle East. Third, infrastructure and construction. Major development projects, especially in remote or politically sensitive areas, are now monitored continuously from orbit. Insurance companies assess project progress without site visits. Investors verify that contracted work is actually happening. China's Belt and Road Initiative, spanning over 70 countries, is tracked extensively by satellite companies providing transparency to stakeholders who can't physically access these locations. Construction delays, environmental impacts, and resource allocation become visible to anyone willing to pay for the data. Fourth, climate and environment. This might be the most socially impactful application. Satellites monitor deforestation in the Amazon in near real time, catching illegal logging operations that would otherwise go undetected. Carbon credit verification, which used to rely on ground surveys that could be manipulated, now uses satellite data as an independent, tamper-proof record. When companies claim they've preserved forests or restored ecosystems, satellite archives provide indisputable evidence. Organizations fighting climate change finally have tools that match the scale of the problem. And fifth, defense and intelligence. I'll be honest, this is where the real money flows. Governments spend billions annually on satellite imagery for national security purposes. During geopolitical conflicts, Commercial satellite companies have provided unprecedented public visibility into military movements, weapons deployments, and infrastructure damage. The technology that was exclusively military 20 years ago is now commercially available, fundamentally changing how information flows during international crises. Each of these industries shares one thing in common. They're willing to pay premium prices because the return on investment is undeniable. But the craziest example I found was how satellite imagery completely transformed our understanding of the Ukraine conflict. Within hours of the invasion beginning in February 2022, commercial satellite companies were publishing high-resolution images showing troop movements, equipment deployments, and infrastructure damage. Intelligence that would have been classified decades ago was suddenly available to journalists, analysts, and citizens worldwide in near real time. This wasn't government reconnaissance, it was commercial companies like Maxar and Planet making strategic decisions to share data publicly. The transparency fundamentally changed how the world monitored and responded to the conflict. That's the power we're talking about. Now you might be thinking, if satellites can see all of this, what about my privacy? Can they actually see me? It's a fair question, and we need to talk about it. Can satellites see you? Technically, yes. Practically, not in the way you're probably imagining. Here's the technical reality. While commercial satellites can achieve 15 to 30 centimeter resolution, that's not enough to identify individual faces or read text on your phone screen. You'd appear as a blob, a human-shaped figure, sure, but not identifiable as you specifically. Military satellites likely have better capabilities, but those remain classified and heavily regulated. The legal framework matters here too. In most countries, satellite imaging is governed by strict regulations about what can be captured and shared. Commercial operators must obtain licenses that specify resolution limits for publicly available imagery. Privacy protections exist, though they vary significantly by jurisdiction. The International Telecommunications Union and national space agencies enforce rules about what commercial satellites can photograph and distribute. But here's the reality check. Your smartphone knows infinitely more about you than any satellite ever will. It tracks your exact location continuously, knows who you call, what you search, what you buy, and even listens for voice commands. The apps on your phone collect more invasive personal data in a single day than a satellite could gather in a year. Satellites see patterns, aggregated movement, land use changes, infrastructure development. Your phone sees you. The real concern isn't individual surveillance from space. It's about how satellite data combined with other information sources creates unprecedented visibility into human activity at scale. That's where the conversation needs to focus. Right now, even the best satellite constellations have latency measured in hours or minutes between image capture and data availability. Companies are racing to reduce that 2 seconds. Imagine a world where you can access a live view of any place on Earth, updated continuously. SpaceX's Starlink isn't just about internet connectivity. The technology being developed for megaconstellations will enable thousands of imaging satellites working in coordination. We're moving from snapshots to video, from historical analysis to live monitoring. The implications for emergency response, logistics, and security are staggering. Second, artificial intelligence integration is transforming what's possible with satellite data. Humans still review most imagery to identify relevant changes or patterns. AI is automating that entirely. Machine learning algorithms can now detect illegal fishing activities, identify construction violations, predict traffic congestion, and flag environmental damage automatically across millions of square kilometers. The bottleneck isn't data collection anymore, it's analysis. AI removes that limitation, turning raw imagery into actionable intelligence at scales previously impossible. Predictive insights are becoming the standard, not the exception. Third, democratization. 5 years ago, accessing satellite imagery required expensive contracts and specialized expertise. Today, platforms like Google Earth Engine offer free access to petabytes of satellite data. APIS from Planet Labs and others make integration straightforward for developers. Startups with small teams can now build applications that would have required government-level resources a decade ago. The barriers to entry are collapsing, which means innovation is accelerating. We're about to see an explosion of new applications we haven't even imagined yet. So what can you actually do with this information? Let me break this down by where you are in your career or investment journey. If you're a student or early in your career, pay attention to emerging fields like geospatial data science and remote sensing engineering. These disciplines are exploding with demand and relatively few qualified professionals exist yet. Universities are scrambling to create programs, but the industry is moving faster than academia. Companies like Planet Labs, Maxar, Spire Global, and Satellogic are actively hiring analysts, engineers, and data scientists. Even traditional companies like insurance firms and agricultural corporations are building geospatial teams. For learning resources, NASA and ESA offer free satellite datasets and tutorials. Coursera and edX have remote sensing courses. The barrier to entry for learning is incredibly low. You just need curiosity and internet access. If you're a professional or entrepreneur, think about how satellite data could transform your industry. Construction firms are integrating site monitoring to reduce costs. Retail analysts are using parking lot data for competitive intelligence. Environmental consultants are offering satellite-based impact assessments. The key opportunity is becoming the bridge between satellite data providers and industries that don't yet realize they need this technology. Companies like Descartes Labs and Orbital Insight have built entire businesses as satellite data-as-a-service platforms, translating raw imagery into industry-specific insights. There's massive white space for specialized applications in logistics, real estate development, disaster response, and supply chain management. If you're an investor, several publicly traded companies offer direct exposure to this sector. Maxar Technologies trades under ticker MAXR. Planet Labs is public under PLACE. Satellogic trades as SATL. Beyond pure-play satellite companies, consider firms integrating this technology, companies in precision agriculture, insurance tech, and defense contractors with geospatial divisions. M&A activity is accelerating as larger tech companies acquire satellite data capabilities. Standard disclaimer: this is educational information, not financial advice. Do your own research. The opportunity is real, accessible, and growing exponentially. So let's recap what we've covered today. We explored the shocking capabilities of modern satellites: 15-centimeter resolution, daily global coverage, and multispectral imaging that sees what human eyes cannot. We examined the $10 billion industry transforming agriculture, finance, infrastructure, climate action, and defense. And we identified concrete opportunities for students, professionals, and investors to participate in this revolution that's already underway. We're living through a revolution in how humanity observes itself. This technology is already changing the world. The question isn't whether it will impact your life, it's whether you'll be part of shaping that impact. If this opened your eyes to something you didn't know existed, hit that like button. Subscribe for more deep dives into technologies shaping our future. And comment below, which industry do you think will be most transformed by satellite data?